1、2、3。皆さん、こんにちは。おはようございます。日本語を学ぶためのインスピレーションです。日本語との竹とインドネシアところインドネシアを互いできる。はい、皆さん、こんにちは。おはようございます。午前中は皆さんとお元気ですか？私は日本名ハリですが、日本コシとして働いています。コシでsuka marate ista 日本語と学ばないおぼがいそ外国ユニソンおとるかといちょびかがろますお元気ですか7月日本語と勉強して例えばmga desu chuchuyo boku betyu Okyushimata arigatou gozaimasu. ところインドネシアどこのチョコレート県かですからこの経おみなぶためとそこといしまとへそうインドネシアをとめて良い国ですかそう YouTube 私と話せるですかおつけですきそうespecially they have to issue over many languages of the learning at home and then school is not a difference is how to the you get so if you got the many science of the information and the brochure if you're searching for by internet.
Hi, I'm Vanessa from SpeakEnglishWithVanessa.com.
And I'm Dan. And
my husband, who is also going to be giving another perspective in today's conversation. Today we're bringing you an amazing long English conversation. So prepare your ears, prepare your mind. We're going to be talking about 12 different topics and hopefully providing some new expressions, new ways to think about life. I don't know about that, but at least some English help for you.
It's going to get personal today, so get ready.
Yes. All right. Are you ready to get started?
I'm ready.
Let's go. Our first topic is family. And my question is, who do you think that you're the most like? Yeah, they didn't need your picture.
No. And so I had to take everybody's picture, and then when they got off of those, I stood at the side and said, "Hey, come over here." Buy this picture, and they were like $20 for one picture. Like,
crazy.
A terrible ripoff. Even I knew it was a terrible ripoff. Just not a worthwhile business, at least in 2010 when I was doing that.
Yeah, maybe 10 years before that, it would have been cool.
It was a viable business like 30 years ago.
But not now.
Yeah, but not anymore. So that was really bad. And one time somebody stole one of my pictures and I actually got fired from that job.
Because they stole a picture.
Because they stole a picture and I didn't catch them on time, and I was like, good riddance.
Yeah, goodbye to this job, goodbye forever.
Yeah, the only reason this was better than the other job, than dishwashing, is because I worked with some people who were, we got along pretty well.
You were outside, you were by the river.
It was okay.
Except you did have to drive an hour to get there. That's crazy.
You drive an hour.
You should never drive an hour to get there.
But that was my fault. I would have been working this way and I still lived. I wasn't an adult yet.
Alright, well, I'm curious for you. What is this? Worst job that you've ever had. Let us know. The next topic is travel. So I want to know, what are 3 locations that you would like to visit or revisit in the U.S.
In the U.S.?
Yes.
Why just the U.S.?
Well, the world's a big place, so I had to narrow down the question somehow.
Okay. All right, the first place I'd say is the Grand Canyon. Because, of course, you have to see the Grand Canyon, right? I've never been there. I used to live in Colorado, but my family never made a trip to the Grand Canyon, and it just would be an amazing sight, I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Second would be the Pacific Northwest, just in general,
Okay.
because
Not like Portland, Seattle in specific. Just
I think I would like to go to Seattle because it's a big city and the city sounds cool. Not many cities in the U.S. are that interesting to me because I've traveled in other places in Europe and in Asia, and those cities are so much more vibrant, except for New York City, which is an awesome city.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of students
Sorry, U.S.
want to visit the U.S. and they want to see these places.
But I'm also from America, so you know it's like...
It's always less interesting.
Yeah, it's less interesting to me. But Seattle seems like a really cool town. And it's higher on my list than, say, Los Angeles, which just kind of seems like a big, sprawling, sticky place.
It seems like a lot more...
No offense, LA.
It seems a lot more intimidating, at least.
Okay,
Like,
that's a nice way to put
There's
it.
a lot going on there, but Seattle feels more comfortable.
Yeah,
So
it seems pretty hip.
the Northwest.
Yeah, so the Northwest also because there's big mountains there, and then there's really lush and green forests. And I love taking hikes. And if you go at the right time of the year, because I've heard it's very rainy in the Pacific Northwest, I'd like to go and take a nice hike up to a big mountain and maybe hop over to Canada, go to Vancouver Island. All of that area sounds really, really cool to me.
Yeah, I'd be up for that.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Maybe not tomorrow, but I think that'd be really cool.
And third would be Colorado.
So revisit
So
Colorado.
this is our revisit. So I used to live in Colorado. I grew up there for 5 years of my life, and it was when I was a kid, and I used to really consider it my home. But now I haven't been back in probably 15 years or so. So it's been a really long time since I've been back, and I'd like to go and maybe travel to where I was when I was a kid. It's gotten so much bigger than it was when I was a kid, so I'm sure there's so many more people there, but also there's really great nature. There's a lot of really big mountains in Colorado. There's the Garden of the Gods, which has really interesting rock formations. As you can tell, we're very nature-driven. We want to go see natural places.
Yeah. Well, a lot of my places have to do with nature too. But
Yes, let's hear it.
I almost said the Grand Canyon, but
You know, I was... Well, I
they have
think
to change.
being an adult, part of it is having a burden of responsibility of some kind. So whether it's a job or your house payments or whatever it is. So some people add those burdens of responsibility anyways without children. But I don't know, for me it's just different. Like, this is the person I'm taking care of in my life. People now.
Yeah.
Go to.
Yeah, we were coming up soon. So I have a question for you. When do you think childhood ends? When does adulthood start? It's going to be different for every culture too. This is a pretty cultural specific question. Maybe in the US it's different than your country.
Maybe you have a rite of passage in your country.
Oh, can you explain what a rite of passage is? Because that's kind of a nuanced thing.
A rite of passage is something that every boy or every girl does to become an adult.
Like some ceremony or activity.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really have this in the U.S. Some people say college is a rite of passage, but not. I mean, more and more, almost everybody goes to college now.
A lot of people do.
Yeah, so it kind of is, but it's a really bad one because usually people just go and they have parties and they live really irresponsibly.
It's not a way to become a responsible adult.
Yeah, and then you do more school.
Yeah.
It's not really, becoming a man.
Changing your life completely. Yeah, so I'm curious, in your country, is there something that signifies now you are an adult? This kind of rite of passage ceremony or festivity or party that you have? In the US, we don't really have that, but I think it's kind of a cool idea that you're celebrating this big change going from childhood to adulthood, and it is a gray area. At least in the US, it's a really gray area, so it's nice to celebrate that as parents, that your kids are adults, hopefully, and that as a child, oh great, now I'm an adult, society sees me as an adult. So I think it's kind of a cool idea, but maybe it's something we can do with our kids. Alright, let's go on to the next topic. The next topic is jobs. I want to know, what was your worst job ever?
Worst job ever?
Yeah.
Well, I have two competing jobs.
Hopefully it's not your current job making English lessons.
It's video editing and doing these videos.
Oh
no! I can't stand working with my wife. Just kidding. It's the best.
Yeah.
So yeah, really my worst job, if I had to pick just one, it would be being a dishwasher.
Oh.
Now notice, there's no differentiation between the machine a dishwasher and the person who's a dishwasher.
Uh-huh.
It's the same word.
So you were like the machine. You were washing dishes.
I mean, you did have a machine, so you'd have like something on the side, you'd slide the dishes in and all that. But it's just, I was also like, I think I was 16 at the time, an adult.
Okay.
And I had no friends in the restaurant. They were all older and they were all really tough. I don't know, in America, when you kitchens have a reputation for having really kind of tough kitchen cooks, and they swear a lot, and they
had a lot of life experiences.
And I was just like a little Christian 16-year-old kid washing dishes in the corner, trying to look like, relatively normal. But I didn't talk to anybody. And
you were homeschooled, you had no experiences.
Well, at that time I was in high school. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a small private school.
Anyway,
so not only was that really awkward, it was also bad because washing dishes just kind of stinks. You just get all the dishes, and some of the guys used to make fun that I wasn't going fast enough. One guy said, "Dan, you have two speeds, slow and stop."
You're like a turtle?
Yeah, I'm like a turtle.
Well, sometimes I still say that.
I wasn't fast enough. And another time I reached into the mucky, dirty water and I cut my finger on a broken glass and I was bleeding in the water.
Oh, things you don't want to know when you visit a restaurant.
And I was paid under the table.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Why did they have to pay you under the table?
I don't know. So it's an Italian restaurant in rural Pennsylvania.
They didn't want to pay taxes on all their employees or something?
Of course, who wants to pay taxes?
I wonder if it was because you were 16. Like, was there an age limit?
I might have even been 15.
Okay, maybe you were under the legal age that they could hire someone, so they just paid you under the table.
Yeah, so that was pretty bad. Yeah, it was
especially as a first job. It's just
my
seems
second job.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
how about you?
I feel like...
Could it be that?
Well, I feel like my worst job wasn't bad because of the social situation like yours. It was bad because it was so boring. So I worked for a summer at this office. I was like a temporary employee just for the summer, working kind of like a call center job, but every day they gave us these scripts and we had to call companies who, maybe this company bought a printer within the last couple months.
I'm bored just listening about it.
Yeah, and I called the company and said, oh, I saw that you recently bought the HP inkjet printer and we have an upcoming training session on this day. Would you like to attend the training session about this printer?
She does have a really good call for us.
And I called so many companies again and again, talking with the secretaries, talking with other people, just saying, do you want to go to this seminar about some electronic device that they had recently bought?
If you called me, I'd be like, yeah, I do. Can I buy more?
Well, people were generally nice to me. It wasn't a subject that I was interested in. It wasn't something I was trained to do, so I didn't feel like it was my specialty. It was just a temporary job
and you're
to make money.
Sitting in an office all day, right?
Yeah, it was my first office job.
Vanessa doesn't like to sit very long.
No, I have to go, like we talked about. So sitting in that office desk, it was just not my thing. But the office, on the other hand, did really try to make it interesting for the employees because they knew most of the people I worked with were in a similar position as me, where it wasn't their lifelong dream to work in that job. So about once a week, we had these game show competitions.
That sounds fun.
Where at lunch, during the lunch break, everyone would go to the lunchroom, if you wanted to, of course. And they had these competitions, kind of like Wheel of Fortune or Jeopardy, and the company just had them for the employees. Sometimes we had dress-up days where we dressed up like cowboys or dressed up like this. They're trying to make it interesting.
Come on, that's better than being a dishwasher.
It's probably better than being a dishwasher. But I just felt like they were trying so hard to keep employees, to make it interesting, because they knew this is not an interesting job.
Yeah. Can I say my second worst job?
Oh, yeah, sure.
You guess what it is?
I know you worked at a lot of coffee shops, but those weren't that bad.
Working at a coffee shop is good.
Okay, what was it?
It's the sharpshooter.
Oh, can you explain about that job?
Yeah, so I don't know if you've ever seen this in your country, but have you ever been to a place where somebody takes your picture and then later they try to sell you that picture? I was that guy. So we took the same pictures. It was going onto a boat in on one of the rivers in Pittsburgh.
So you're kind of like a cruise boat.
Yeah,
a river cruise.
It's very kitschy though, like not high class at all. So people, before they got on the boat, we forced them to stop and go through the line and we'd take their picture. And it was like required, but people were like, oh, I don't want to get my picture taken.
And everyone had their own cameras and phones.
And this is, mind you, this is in like 2010 where people already have like phones on their cameras and stuff. I mean, that's at least getting more popular.
Yeah, they didn't need your picture.
No. And so I had to take everybody's picture, and then when they got off the boat, I stood at the side and said, hey, come over here, buy this picture! And they were like $20 for one picture. Like,
crazy.
A terrible ripoff. Even I knew it was a terrible ripoff. Just not a worthwhile business, at least in 2010 when I was doing that.
Yeah, maybe 10 years before that, it would have been cool.
It was a viable business like 30 years ago.
But not now.
Yeah, but not anymore. So that was really bad. And one time somebody stole one of my pictures and I actually got fired from that job.
Because they stole a picture.
Because they stole a picture and I didn't catch them on times, and I was like, good riddance.
Yeah, goodbye to this job. Goodbye forever.
Yeah, the only reason this was better than the other job, than dishwashing, is because I worked with some people who were funny and we got along pretty well.
And you were outside, you were by the river.
It was okay.
Except you did have to drive an hour to get there. That's crazy.
I did drive an hour to work.
You should never drive an hour to get to a
But that was my fault. I wanted to work in Pittsburgh and I still lived. Did I live with my parents? I think I did. I wasn't an adult yet.
Oh. Alright, well, I'm curious for you. What is the worst job that you've ever had? Let us know. And let's go to the next topic. The next topic is travel. So I want to know, what are 3 locations that you would like to visit or revisit in the U.S.?
In the U.S.?
Yes.
Why just the U.S.?
Well, the world's a big place, so I had to narrow down the question somehow.
Okay. All right, the first place I'd say is the Grand Canyon. Because, of course, you have to see the Grand Canyon, right? I've never been there. I used to live in Colorado, but my family never made a trip to the Grand Canyon, and it just would be an amazing sight, I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Second would be the Pacific Northwest, just in general.
Okay.
Because
not like Portland, Seattle in specific. Just...
I think I would like to go to Seattle. Cities are so much more vibrant, except for New York City, which is an awesome city.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of students
U.S.
want to visit the U.S. and they want to see these places.
But I'm also from America, so you know, it's like...
It's always less interesting.
Yeah, it's less interesting to me. But Seattle seems like a really cool town, and it's higher on my list than, say, Los Angeles, which just kind of seems like a big, sprawling, stinky place.
It seems like a lot more...
No offense, LA.
It seems a lot more intimidating, at least.
Okay,
like,
that's a nice way to put it.
There's a lot going on there, but Seattle feels more comfortable.
Yeah, it seems pretty hip.
The Northwest.
Yeah, so the Northwest also because there's big mountains there, and then there's really lush and green forests, and I love taking hikes. And if you go at the right time of the year, because I've heard it's very rainy in the Pacific Northwest, I'd like to go and take a nice hike up to a big mountain, and maybe hop over to Canada, go to Vancouver, Vancouver Island.
That'd be cool.
All of that area sounds really, really cool to me.
Yeah, I'd be up for that.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Maybe not tomorrow, but I think that'd be really cool.
And third would be Colorado.
So revisit Colorado.
So this is our revisit. So I used to live in Colorado. I grew up there for 5 years of my life, and it was when I...
Hi, I'm Vanessa from SpeakEnglishWithVanessa.com. Are you ready to learn a lot of English? Let's do it. Over the past couple months, I've been creating some 30-second to 1 minute short English lessons for my social media channel in China. If you're in China, you can click on this code over here to follow me. But those of you on YouTube, maybe you can't visit this social media in China, so I want to give it to you here on YouTube. You're going to see a lot of 30-second to 1-minute English lessons pushed together in this 45-minute lesson. I hope that you will improve your vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, cultural concepts, and you will gain a passion and excitement for English. These are all real daily concepts in English. Generally, they are for beginner or low intermediate English learners, but anyone can benefit. So I hope that you will enjoy them. Are you ready? Let's get started. Peekaboo! Peekaboo!
Good grammar and spelling are important, but if you want to write essays that inspire, messages that forge...
Hello, listen, do you feel like, you're not making progress with your spoken English, like you're stuck? Well, today I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you 5 tips, right? 5 simple things you can do every day that will help improve your spoken English and help you get, unstuck so you can do really well on the IELTS speaking test. Are you ready? Then come with me. Hello again. So my name is Keith and I run the Keith Speaking Academy, here to help you speak better English, give better answers and get a higher score on the IELTS speaking test. So maybe, you've taken the IELTS test several times, but you're stuck at the same level, maybe a band 6 or a 6.5. There may be several reasons for this, and today I'm going to look at the most common problem for being stuck, right? And actually, it's not that you need more technique, exam technique or tips, it's just that your overall level of spoken English is too low. So the English in your head might be great, but when you speak, it's just not the same. As a student once said to me, he said, when I've got ideas in English, the English in my head, it's like driving a Ferrari. It's great, but then when I speak, it's like a car crash. Which is a great image, I think, for many, many students. So today, I'm going to address that and help you improve your spoken English. With these 5 tips, I'm going to look at the following: how to learn speaking, how to automate your vocabulary, how to increase fluency, how to gain confidence, and how to make sure you're choosing the right tools to help you. Right, okie dokie, let's begin. So first of all, how to learn speaking, or how to learn how to speak. The most important tip here, I think, is to learn speaking by listening. Unfortunately, many students around the world learn speaking with books, by looking at words, by reading and reading aloud. And why? Well, probably because their teachers told them. And the reason their teachers told them is because they learned that at school too. And I think one reason is in the past, there was no access to the native speaker voice, right? But the world has changed. And unfortunately, education has not changed, but it needs to. Why is this important? Because the speaking and writing are 2 different systems, right? A bit of history to explain. I like history. We have been speaking, right, for over 10,000 years. We have only been writing for maybe 4,000 or 5,000 years, right? We began writing with the Egyptians and the Sumerians with their cuneiforms in about 3000 BC. Speaking came first. Writing was a way to capture what we say. And grammar is a way to capture what we speak. And it does a pretty good job, but it's not perfect. And yet still so many people choose the books to help them learn to speak. It's the other way round, right? We should start with the speaking and the listening, and the books come later. It's a bit like, right, imagine Messi, the football player, comes knocking on your door with his football, and he says, "Hey, Keith, would you like to come and play football with me?" And you go, no, actually, I'm just going to stay at home and read this book about football. What? Why would you choose to read about it when you can be doing it, right, and learning really well? I mean, the book can be useful maybe later, but start with the doing, right? Start with the listening and the speaking, and the writing comes later. Learning by listening, if I haven't convinced you, let me finish with convincing you. Learning by listening has the following benefits, right? First of all, you learn natural spoken English. You know that the language is spoken, not written. You learn pronunciation. You get the context, so you know how to learn, how to use the language when you're speaking. It's a no-brainer. You must begin by listening, right? And I said earlier, right, the world has changed. We are surrounded by native speaker texts or proficient speaker audio texts, videos, Netflix, YouTube. You can get it anywhere. Keith Speaking Academy, if you've heard of that. There are audios all over the world at the click of a button. So start using it. Learn your speaking by listening. Okay, number 2, how to automate vocabulary. I love that word, automate. Great word. Keith, yes? What does automate mean? It's a good question, and I'm glad you asked. To automate something is to make it automatic, like without thinking. Do you know the phrase autopilot? To do something on autopilot. Sometimes I'm driving on autopilot. It just means I'm driving without thinking at the same time. So you may know, actually, I have a Fluency course, and the strong focus of the Fluency course is to automate grammar. So we look at maybe 16 different grammatical items, and through practice, automate them so you're using them without thinking. Now, you can do the same with vocabulary. Automate your vocabulary. How do you do it? Very simple tip. Tried and tested method, repeat and juggle. Right? Repeat and juggle. What do I mean by that? Well, first of all, you find something to listen to, right? Remember what I said in tip number 1, learn speaking through listening. You listen to something and you repeat a word or a phrase, maybe a collocation, right? So you're listening to something, for example, an audio tape, and it says, "I love Paris," and you go, "Stop, I love Paris," and you repeat, right? That's the repeat, easy peasy. The juggle is that you then change a word. What is juggle? Good question. Let me show you. Juggle, right? Oranges, like the magician. This is juggling. Whoa! Now, why do I call it juggling? I don't. Why do I call it juggling? Because you take a word and you change it, right? So in our example, I love Paris. I change the word Paris. I love Hanoi. I love New Delhi. I love Manchester. Right? Easy. Now, you can juggle by changing the word, or you can change the tense. I love.
Hey, player one, do you think to be ready for this? Join Valorant and play as one of a global cast of agents from all over the world. Mixed.
I love Paris. I loved Paris. I will love Paris. I used to love Paris. I'm sure I would love Paris if I could go there, right? So you're juggling the tense. Very, very simple. Listen, repeat, and juggle. And that formula starts to get you automatically using and hardwiring the vocabulary, making it active and more automated. Now, actually, as I said, education has changed, right? We are now surrounded by audio and video. There's lots of it, and there's lots of really good tools you can use. I came across one the other day that I thought was really, really good. And I'm going to show you very briefly how it works. Gives you access to lots of audio and video and helps you do this repeating and juggling. Let me show you. So let me show you this app. I've downloaded it off the Apple Store. I'm on my tablet over here. This is it over here, Woodpecker. And once you go in there, let me go inside the screen and show you how it works. So we've got a whole bunch of YouTube videos. If you've got Netflix, you can go in and sign in and access your Netflix videos. You can go on the web browser and also get some websites here. And there is a built-in dictionary, I think. Now, let's imagine in YouTube, if you want to select by topic, you can. So if you're interested in, I don't know, in books, you can find all the videos which are related to books. You can also choose by the channel if you prefer, or choose by the teacher. So all of your famous English teachers are on here. So let's see how we can actually use the repeat and juggling technique in a video. If we go into this video here, right, you can see you can watch the video. Great. The tape script all the way through the video is here with timestamps, so I can click on any timestamp.
It was very popular in time.
Pause, and I can repeat that, right? It was very popular in his time. I can check the meaning of a word by pressing on it. It tells me the meaning of popular or liked, dictionary, voice. But if I press the timestamp, it'll just repeat.
He was very popular in time.
It was very popular. It was very popular. Press the timestamp.
He was very popular in time.
He was very popular. Great. And now I can juggle. I can change the end. He was very popular 10 years ago. He was very popular 2 years ago. He was very popular a year ago, and so on.
He was very popular in time.
Total flexibility to move around and be repeating and juggling. Absolutely brilliant. Great. So that's it. Tip number 2. Listen, repeat, and juggle. Let's move on. Right, number 3, how to increase your fluency when speaking. So the tip here is focus on chunks. So what are chunks, you ask? Chunks are pieces of language. Typically 2 words together, or maybe 3 or 4 words that go together normally. So your chunks may be, for example, collocations like heavy rain, right? We don't say big rain, we say heavy rain. These words go together like friends, they stick together. Chunks could be idiomatic expressions like kick the bucket, right? Meaning to die. He kicked the bucket, kick the bucket. It could be a filler, like on top of that, right? When we say on top of that, you don't want to be thinking, is it in top, on top of this, on top of that? You don't want to be thinking, you want a ready-made chunk on top of that. So you learn the chunk without thinking about all of the words. And this, as you can imagine, speeds up your fluency. I mean, take collocations. Let's take the word shopping, for example, right? When you